Hello and welcome to another unboxing and review video. Today we have my very first Iconiq Studios figure, which I'm really excited about because it is from Silent Hill 2 and it is the Bubblehead Nurse. So guys, without further ado, let's get to it. Alright then, so let's get stuck in, and the first thing I'm going to say is I really love the presentation they've put into the packaging on these figures. I mean, first of all, it has a slip cover, as you can see here, and it has this nice misty kind of look to it, which fans of the series will know the mist is a big part of the Silent Hill game. So I really like that they've included that into the packaging and design element as well. You can see it wraps all the way around. We've got Silent Hill 2 Bubblehead Nurse along here, Iconiq Studios on the back, and then down here, mine is upside down, we do have a bit of information. So this kind of is all the warning signs and details about the figure, and then we have a little bit about the creation of this figure here, which is quite nice. I like that, and you get a bit of a membership to Iconiq Studios as well, which is kind of nice to see. It's a bit different to how other 1/6 companies work. And then we've got, of course, sliding this cover off so you have a better look. You can see the Bubblehead Nurse in all her glory on the front, and this is a picture of the figure, believe it or not, which is nice to see. Not sure what this is. This looks like the rest of her outfit. That could be, yeah, that's her head. Did not recognize what that was. And you can see the kind of the square over her mouth as well, which is similar to the game. You see that a lot in the game. So yeah, nice packaging overall. What we'll do is we'll slide this off, which is, it's always difficult to do with these kind of slide top boxes, I notice, but there we go. I like to keep it real in these videos. Now you've got all the whodunits here, which I really do like. So you can see who sculpted the thing, you can see who did the paint work as well, body engineering, obviously TB League, which is really nice to see. You've got Konami, because this is a licensed figure, which I didn't realize initially, which was a nice surprise for me. I don't know much about Iconiq Studios, I won't lie. They've been under the radar for myself, just kind of InArt and Hot Toys is the main thing, with a few third parties. But yeah, so InArt Iconiq is a new kind of thing for my brain, if that makes sense. So we take off the foam. I do like that they've done foam. That is really, really nice. I wish Hot Toys would kind of get on the banner of that. And then straight away we've got the nurse here in her packaging. We do have our first accessory, which is her pole. We'll say, it's not really, it's a pipe, isn't it? Say it's a pipe. So you've got the pipe there, and then you do have this really interesting kind of waist grabber. It's metal, first of all, from what I can tell, fully posable. It's a bit like a flight pole almost, so you can bend it and kind of flex it and move it around, which I quite like. That's nice to see that, and it's obviously got a screw bottom as well for when we get it in the base, and it's got some Velcro around the sides here to make it a bit nicer on the figure. We'll get to the Bubblehead Nurse in a little bit, but if I slide this off just like so and then move that out of the way, we have our instructions, our base, which looks really awesome, getting the instructions out of the way. And then, of course, she does come with an array of hands and some alternate feet as well, which you don't see very often. I mean, that's quite a rarity to see. What we're going to do is we're going to quickly get these out, and then we'll take a look at each of these pieces. Alright then, so here we have all the accessories. So she doesn't come with a whole lot, I won't lie, but let's look at this base first, because the base is really nicely done. I love what they've done with this. So you can see it says Silent Hill 2 along the side, and then you've got this nice kind of hospital work around here. It's a circular base, which I quite like, a nice circular base. There's something very aesthetically pleasing about them. You can see obviously where the waist grabber goes in just here, and then you've just got your standard kind of bottom, a bit like you'll get with your Hot Toys ones. But yeah, very nicely done on this base. All that kind of paint work and effort they've put in to really kind of represent the hospital in Silent Hill, which I believe is New Haven Hospital. Correct me if I'm wrong. It's been a minute since I played the game, but man, I love Silent Hill 2. Really excited for the remake as well. And then over here, we do have our accessories. So as I said earlier, you've got the two kind of feet, which is nice. The one thing about the nurses that everyone remembers, if you've played the game or watched the film, is their strange movements that they have, and I think this will kind of help to recreate in different poses. One thing I never used to realise is that the hands are gloved, and I noticed this on the pyramid head as well. I did not know they had gloved hands, so that's a nice detail that I picked up that I always missed on the games. But the hands are really nicely done. They're very simple because they are gloves, so not much details, but you can see all the blood spatters and all the dirt and grime over them, which is a really nice touch as well. And you've got various different kind of hand signs that you can put, which is a really nice take. Sadly, my microphone decided to not record any sound for this, so I've had to kind of switch it over to a voiceover. But yeah, here we go. Here is the Bubblehead nurse. We're going to take off the plastic wrapping and get a much better look at her. And first impressions, guys, she is really good. I really, really like this figure, more so than I actually thought. I did get her as a companion piece to the pyramid head. That's the main reason I got her, but she looks damn good on her own. Now, we're going to take off the plastic wrapping and just kind of punch in a little bit more of her details. And here she is in all of her terrifying glory, and God, what a figure to behold. Now, the paintwork on the body is really nicely done. It really captures kind of the darkness of Silent Hill. It's kind of like blood, rusty, dirty and grimy, and that all translates really nicely into the dress as well. The dress itself is nicely done. The tailoring is really good. I'm quite happy with this. I can't complain. Really like that nurse's badge as well. That's a nice little addition there. But the overall feel of the fabric, it's thin, but it is nicely done. The belt obviously wraps around. I'm not sure what exactly material. I think that the belts are... It's the same material as the dress, I believe. But yeah, but really nicely done. The head sculpt, while quite simple in its design, is executed really well and really captures the character. It's kind of it's quite heavy and solid, the head sculpt. It's kind of made of a hard resin, I believe, but you can see the weathering throughout really kind of captures the character of this figure and brings to life what a terrible creature this was in the game. Absolutely terrified me as a kid. Okay, so I forgot in the unboxing bit as well, this kind of square that goes along with her. Now, this is meant to represent the save icons, and I think a seal that you get at the end of the game. It's been a minute since I played it, but it does go over her mouth, and it is a magnetic fit, and it fits quite nicely. It doesn't quite sit flush, which can be a bit annoying, so a bit of work there to get it straight. But overall, I think it actually adds a really nice element to the figure and adds a little bit more detail to the otherwise plain head sculpt. Of course, not all of the Bubblehead nurses had this in the game, so you don't have to have this on. That's purely down to you, but for me, I think it's a nice touch. Alright, and here she is all set up, and she looks absolutely fantastic, guys. Just look at all the details, the kind of pose that you can kind of get her into as well. It looks really fantastic on the shelf, and it's quite a standout piece, I will say. It's not the biggest, most imposing figure, but this really will stand out on your shelf. But for now, let's kick into the details. So looking at the lower portion of her body, we do see this kind of ankle joint in this pose that I've got her in, and it does expose some of the metal peg, which is a bit of a shame. However, I will say those ankle joints are really sturdy. She's fallen over once, but that's because I put her in kind of a walking position that was hard to kind of keep her in, but they hold up really nicely, so no worry on posing there. The torso is nicely done. You can see all the detail throughout the dress that I've already mentioned, but you get a lot of mobility through it as well because it is a TV League body, so you can kind of like mobilize her waist and kind of upper body to get her into those terrifying poses that you'll see her in throughout the game. Really helps you capture the character of the monster that she is. And finally, the head sculpt. Simple, yet I'm going to say elegant. You can see all the great weathering they've put in, from the nurse's cap to kind of the bubble mask that she has. You can even see the wrinkling of the plastic material. Very nicely done. I do like the addition of the magnetic square. Okay, so here we have pose number 1, and I really like this pose. I think it's done a great job of kind of capturing the the terrifying shambolic nature of these creatures, if I'm being completely honest. The way they kind of shuffle and move awkwardly. So I say designed this as kind of when you first encounter a nurse, just as she's detecting you, she's kind of got her hand out pointing towards you, and she's going to start making her way over. So I think this is a nice pose. It really captures that and kind of keeps in the ominous and terrifying feel of the character itself. And now, of course, I do have her on the waist grabber. That's only just because I don't want her to fall down as I'm trying to film this. But no, she poses really nicely. So now, guys, on to pose 2. So here we have pose number 2. This is the evolution, I'll say, of that first pose. She spotted us and she's going to attack us now with her crowbar. Again, got her on that waist grabber with her front, right leg kind of stepping forwards. An absolutely dream of a figure to pose. It poses so nicely. The TB League body really makes it easy to pose. I will say it is scary swapping out the hands. It's quite hard to get them in, so I definitely heat them up to loose the holes in them first, because I was pushing quite hard and I was worried the metal skeleton inside was going to rip through the one of her arms. So it took a little bit of going to get that hand on. So just be careful and be wary of that, guys. But all in all, this is an outstanding figure. It poses really nicely. This is a great pose, and it might be how I keep her. I might go for pose 1. I'm not completely sure yet. The details on this figure are really, really impressive for me. They've really not kind of held anything back in terms of details. So really happy to see that. They've done a fantastic job. As for a rating, I'm going to give the Bubblehead Nurse an 8 out of 10. She does a fantastic job in capturing the fear and horror of the character from the game, and the body is so well designed, as is all the details on the figure herself. Thanks for watching, guys, and I hope to see you again in the video soon.